Hello, disc golf boys and girls, and welcome to episode number 11. I'm going to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, AppalachianDiscGolf.com. He's got discs, he's got bags, he's got books. Well, he has one book, the one that's signed by yours truly. You can get that from him with free shipping. So if you are listening to this and you're thinking, why does that podcast sound a little bit different than all the others? Our studio is outside. That's right. We are recording in the backyard, so you can hear the birds. Well, you can hear one bird, and then you hear this annoying hum that's coming from the air conditioning. But hey, just view it as an om. So this is now it's time for your moment of zen. And this moment comes from Bruce Lee's Striking Thoughts, Wisdom for Daily Living. I thought this was very appropriate. It's being in the now. Listen, can you hear the wind? And can you hear the birds singing? You have to hear it. Empty your mind. You know how water fills a cup? It becomes the cup. You have to think about nothing. You have to become nothing. Welcome to episode 11! Zach, the pressure is on.
Beat it, nerd. It's my podcast now.
For a couple reasons. Number one, we're doing this in a different place. We're pushing the boundaries, setting up obstacles for our own growth. He says no. And obstacle number two, the phone is dinging. But no, obstacle number two, we got no notes to go on today. Obstacle number three, Tim isn't here with us.
It's a sad day without Tim.
But we're going to make this work. We got to make it work. And number four, what was number four? Oh, the air conditioner. So if you hear the just think of it as a peaceful and not a... Thank God it doesn't actually sound like that.
There's no Tim today. He's been like a son to you, like a son friend.
A son and a father. All in this. Does that work? Yeah. Hi, Tim. Say hi. Daggone it. Dings all around. Okay, so we're moving on today. So what I was going to do was just a quick podcast just to let you all know what was going on with everything in the Zen Disc Golf world. But I decided, hey, if I got to set everything up, let's just get through it. Let's give them a good quality podcast for their daily journey into life and work and disc golf and everything. The reason I was going to just do a quick one is because, like I've been saying over the past couple of pods, the wife is expecting, and yet we're still waiting. She's been kind of touch and go for the past couple days. She's kind of been like, I think we need to go to the hospital. No, I don't think we need to. Oh. All right, so it's been kind of back and forth. But so she said to me, you need to get Zach over. You need to cut a podcast because you got to tell everybody about the Kickstarter, and you've got to tell everybody about deconstructing reality. You've got to tell everybody about everything amazing that's been going on in disc golf. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get around to some of that. Mm-hmm. But before we move on to that, today's episode I really want to talk about, it's just something that kind of came to me as if in a dream over this past week. And that is a concept of disc golf in life that I didn't put in the book, that didn't make the book, and maybe it was because I didn't think about it till here recently. But aggressive play versus finesse play. And I want to spend about 10, 15 minutes on talking about this and really how we can learn a lot from the disc golf course in regards to aggressive versus finesse play. If you've ever played a course that's tightly wooded, you know that the aggressive stance is not necessarily the best way to go about throwing that course. Am I right, Zach?
Yes, I agree with that 100%. Playing courses like Northwest River Park or even
very tight.
Inverness disc golf course down in Alabama, you have to have a phenomenal grasp of how to throw your discs with finesse. Disc selection is key. You have to be gentle. It's not a muscle game out there. Now, you know, some courses, sure, it's still going to be 400 feet long, but it's still only 15 or 20 feet wide in the fairway. That's not a lot of wiggle room for error. You've really got to throw with a lot of tact and forethought, or you're just going to go straight into the woods.
So the difference really between, just to set us up, is aggressive play and a finesse play is, you know, you say you're standing on the tee pad and you're thinking, you can't always think power shot off that tee pad.
Nope.
We tend to jump up on a tee pad, grab our fastest driver, and say, this is the right decision for this hole. And that's not necessarily true. The first place I ran into this concept was actually taking myself out of my comfort zone, and I was playing the Blockhouse, which I know you haven't played yet.
Nope, not yet.
It's in Northern Virginia. Fantastic course. If you guys can get out to this course, it's amazing. Those guys are really cool there. They've got a little pro shop set up. They got a little campground set up. Awesome guys. They have 2 courses on this at this particular facility, and what they call a tiki course, which is a short course, par 2 course. They light it up with lights at night, and you can play a little glow putt and everything. But the 2 larger courses are very wooded. There are some long shots that are nice and open that you need a power drive off the tee, and you need your high-speed driver. But I remember the first time I stood on a tee pad and said, I don't think I don't have any line from this tee pad. So then the other option is, well, create a new tee pad. Lose a stroke, create a new tee pad, right? You ever been in that situation?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
so how do you do that? You set up just a short shot. You just take
down. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
You just take your putter or whatever you got handy, throw it 13 feet, and say, I got a much better view. I got a much better disc for this shot.
Yep.
So that's aggressive versus finesse play. And the other way that you can look at this is when you're first starting out in disc golf, everybody kind of tends to want to get up on that tee pad and power throw everything without really learning the technique. And then when you start watching other people play and people who really have a good long game and who are really able to whip those drivers, you realize that it's not all about that run up. It's about the technique, and it's about the finesse. It's about pulling that driver across your body in the right way. It's not about the run up. It's not about the power. It's not about it's not about the aggression and an aggressive play. So another way that you can look at this is sometimes when you're in a tournament situation, reevaluating the tactic that you're going to use in that tournament. And it's not always about aggressively going after it. Sometimes you got to take that par. You know, you're not always going to go for that birdie because, you know, it's outside your comfort level. I mean, you want to try to stay outside your comfort level in practice, but sometimes you got to play it safe, as it were.
I agree with that 100%. I'm a huge fan of just playing for par. That's the best way to go about it for me, is just play for par and let everybody else kind of go off the rails.
Right.
And we saw that not too long ago. We played that 3-team doubles round where my partner and I, we just played for par. We weren't trying to kill birdies, and we got them when we got them.
And to be honest, you owned everybody, including me.
Yeah,
and my partner.
and you see, we had a sidebar. We'd step to the side and be like, all right, look, this is our best option. We're going to have to take a stroke here. You know, when we had birdie putts, one of us would lay up, the other person would go for it. And it's a good, healthy balance to be able to take a step back and understand that you need to play par golf to push the other golfers and to set the tone.
Yeah.
Really.
So, and it's almost like in chess, you end up making the other player chase you just because you are just playing for par. And now that's not to say you don't strive for excellence or reach for the stars. It's being always in the moment and able to evaluate the tactic or the tool or the disc or the throw or whatever you need in that situation. The moral of the story is, it's not always about running up and throwing that power throw. And I think that pros know this, that have this concept down, whereas some of us amateurs kind of we want to swing for the we want to swing for the fences, and yet sometimes, like for example at the blockhouse, I was just creating a new tee pad. That was the right move in my game, was basically, okay, I can't even see the basket because of elevation. I've got this large mound in front of me. So if you've played that course 1,000 times, you know exactly where your disc needs to go on that hole. But for somebody like me who'd only played it the first time, I've tossed my putter up on the mound. Now I've got a view of it. I lost a stroke, but now I've got a view, and that was the best play for me in that moment.
Right.
So it's always about being able to evaluate the moment. And this works in life. And actually, this situation came to me this past week in life, and then I was relating it back to disc golf as opposed to normally I'm on the disc golf course and I throw something and I'm like, hey, this is just in life. No, I was experiencing something in life that reminded me of the disc golf course, and that is knowing when to be aggressive and when to play the game and really finesse. And the point here is, anytime the world will give you the energy you put out into it. If there's something that you want from somebody else, almost always coming about it aggressively is the best way to get them to come right back at you aggressively. We, in our nature, we voice match, which you're basically a professional at communication, body communication, speech, and all this kind of stuff. So am I lying?
No, not at all.
When we yell at somebody, what do? They yell back.
They yell back.
When we tense up and we get our fist bulged because we're super mad, it doesn't take the situation where you want it to go. It makes the other person tense up and ball their fists up like they want to fight or something. So aggressively is not always the way that you want to handle conflict. You want to be able to be the person who can step back, take a look at the situation, be in the moment, and figure out, hey, sometimes I just got to throw the putter, create a new tee pad for myself.
I'm a huge fan of just taking it easy. I've found that in intense situations where people are angry, the nicer you are and the calmer you are, the easier it is to come out on the other side with a positive outcome and
Absolutely.
The intended outcome versus just going off the rails.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and not every situation you're in is it about power. Almost what I'm saying is, if somebody comes at you aggressively, if you step back and do just exactly what you were saying, play the finesse game, you can win without them ever even knowing it.
Exactly. Exactly. Now,
So,
as a man that gets paid to be a professional bad cop,
Yeah.
it's very refreshing when you're able to step back and stop having to be an aggressor and really play the finesse game in life and work in the game that is disc golf. I like jumping in a cold lake, being hot all day. Nice finesse throw on the course. Feels good, washes over you. You played the right shot and you weren't out there throwing, you weren't having Mongo throws.
Right.
Feels good. It cleanses the soul.
Another way that you can look at this is if you're standing on a tee pad and you opt to have a power throw when you should finesse it. A lot of times on these tight wooded holes, when you do hit that tree, and you will hit that tree because you chose the wrong tactic, that disc is going to hit that tree much harder and then fly much further in a direction that you don't even want it to go. So much for trying to maintain control and power of a situation.
Absolutely, you are correct.
So, Zach, I want to move on, and I want to talk about what's new with Zen.
Don't let go.
Don't say what?
Never let go.
Never. So, moving on. What's new with Zen? So, super exciting. Last episode, we talked about the possibility, because Kickstarter hadn't even approved it yet, that there was going to be this team box concept coming out. And basically what I said is, in the box, I was going to start a Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter was for a team box. In the box, you were going to receive a putter with a Zen Disc Golf stamp.
Yep.
You were going to receive a mini with a Zen Disc Golf stamp. You were going to receive a bag tag numbered based on when you made your pledge. A sticker pack, and also way cool bracelets that remind you to just throw. And I said, these are within the continental U.S., they're going to be $40 shipped. And basically what I told everybody was, all we need is $2,000 to get this project going. If we can get enough pledges to get $2,000 in 30 days, this thing was going to happen. And you know what happened, Zach?
It happened.
It happened. But you know how fast it happened?
I believe it was 72 hours.
3 days. 3 days. We made $2,000 to make these boxes a reality. And you can
But do you know why it happened?
Why?
Because we have the best fans in the world.
Oh, yes. Hashtag best fans in the world. I've been using that all week.
I'm just saying.
And if my voice sounds more intense, it's just because, man, I'm super excited about this. So not only did it just take us 3 days to raise $2,000 up to get this project to be a reality on Kickstarter, the second part of that is we are now up to $3,300 in getting this project going. And so that's just more people that are buying these boxes. And on top of that, we have 16 days left, which is amazing.
So long as it stops at $9,999, I'm safe.
Yes, that's right. The Ticklish Hamster, at Ticklish Hamster on Twitter. The guy sitting in front of me, the mustache man himself, has said if we reach $10,000, he's going to shave his mustache and his head on Periscope live.
I like my odds.
I don't like your odds. 16 days left. So, the sky is the limit with these things, because basically with Kickstarter, you make your pledge. I see how many of these products I need, and then I go out and I get the products. So if you go to Kickstarter and you pledge to this box, which is already a reality, we're not hoping now. When you put your money into it, you will get a box. So with 16 days left, sky is the limit on how many of these boxes are going to be sent out. Just remember, though, the bag tags, first come, first serve. I've even had people ask me, though, if I give you extra money, can I get a lower bag tag?
Ooh, bribes.
And I had to say, no, I promised everybody that it would be first come, first serve. Got to keep my promise.
That's good. Just remember, Pat has number one, and nobody's going to take it from him except for me.
Yeah, I pretty much should just take number two and give you number one. But that would be against the whole concept of my book. I have to at least hold on to it and visualize keeping number one.
There you go.
So I can't thank everyone enough for pledging and getting these boxes made as a reality. Please keep pledging, or now it's not really even a pledge. Just order your boxes now. After the 16 days, I don't know if I'm going to have extra boxes. I don't know. I'm not trying to front here. I really don't know if I'm going to have extra boxes, because I'm going to keep it close when I have to order all these things to the number of people who have ordered. So if you want your putter, which as of right now is going to be a most likely 99% chance a dynamic disc, 99% chance a judge, which is what everyone's kind of voted for. Last podcast we mentioned a gateway, but I've had more contact with dynamic discs since, who's been super cool about the project. I already got the bracelets in. You got one.
I sure do.
Yep. And for those of you who cannot see what just happened, because Zach forgot he was on a podcast, he showed everybody in the backyard.
Sorry about
that. Yes, there it is. So he got the bracelets. What do you think about the bracelet?
I like it. I like the
simple
texture.
but cool, man.
Very simple but very cool.
I really like it, and I've had a lot of people ask me questions about it because I've been kind of wearing mine.
It pops. It very much pops.
Yeah, it's black with the white text that says "Just Throw." Period.
.org.
Yeah, I had to go ahead and add the .org on the internets, but that's not on the actual bracelet. Anyway, so moving on, another kind of cool thing going on in my life, not so much Zen disc golf, but in my life, for those of people who are interested, you kind of have to step back and think, okay, Zen disc golf is great. I've had so many people write and tell me that it's improved their lives in some way, shape, or form, whether it's on the course. I get people all the time saying, hey, this book is great, or the pod's great. You and Zach really helped me think on the course, have improved my game. I've had people move up their PDGA rank. I've had people play. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I've had people move up from amateur to pros who have written me.
Whoa.
And just express thanks. People who said that their marriage is better and all this kind of stuff. And that's awesome. You can't make a person's day better than when I read those messages in the morning. So you really have to kind of take a step back, and as I did, and say, well, what's next for Zen disc golf, but also what's next for Patrick McCormick, and that would be me. What's next for me as an author? And so the concept is, I want to bring a lot of what I've brought to the disc golf world to the rest of the world. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm actually writing another book. And it's going to be called Deconstructing Reality. And the book is going to have a lot to do with some of the stuff that we talk about here on the cast and in the book Zen and the Art of Disc Golf, but it pushes it way, way further. And so also with that, I'm actually writing the book online, which means you're going to be able to read the book and share the book with people to try, just people say it helps. And as Zach, said to me, Pat, because he read some of the book already, what did you think?
Oh, it's phenomenal.
I really appreciate you saying, and I really value your opinion, because I know you'd tell me it was crap if it was.
The introduction just was awesome. The first installment on the website was phenomenal.
Thanks.
You have to understand that we live in a world and in a society where people aren't aware of anything going on around them, and they live in a mobile device in their hand, and if they're not using that, they're on a tablet, and if they're not in that, they're on a TV, and if they're not in that, they're on their MacBook. The message that you've put out, not only with Zen Disc Golf, but now with the new book, I hope, and I'm happy to be a part of doing anything to help it reach the max audience, because as a society, as a country, as a world, we need the message.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying that. So what I'm doing with it is, you're not going to really have to wait to buy the book to read it. You're going to be able to read this book online as it's being written. And on top of that, what I decided to do was start another podcast. And I'm actually going to read the book via podcast. Now, as time moves on, the old podcasts will fall off the subscription, but you're going to be able, if you start from the beginning, you're going to start hearing it from the beginning. I'm going to read it, and I've actually gone so far as, Zach, I've been a musician forever, and been a studio musician and
Media Violence
engineer. Yeah, I had a couple bands, Media Violence, or Aggressive Attack, Tape Eater, a lot of these bands, but a lot of people don't know that I also have done a lot of instrumental and cinematic work. And so I'm doing a lot of atmospheric and music behind what I'm saying, and I think it adds a lot more power to it. So the podcast is not up on iTunes just yet, but it will be available, and actually is available on the website, which I'm still kind of building, still kind of working on. It's deconstructing-reality.com. And so that's where I'll be writing my next book. And so I hope you can follow me over there at that. I also set up, because I did set up the book, I set up a author page for me on Facebook. So please go ahead and follow that. And I have a Twitter where I'm doing actually a lot of my brainstorming for the book, with just any idea that kind of pops up in my head. I'm going ahead and tweeting it. And the people out there who are, liking or retweeting certain thoughts is kind of telling me which direction to go. This is I wonder if this is one of the first books that have actually taken the fans into account, or what they want to hear while it's being written. They can read it while it's being written, so on and hear it as an audiobook while it's...
Can't beat that.
I mean, so yeah, deconstructing-reality.com is the website. I also have the Facebook, which is Patrick McCormick as an author, and the Twitter, which is at PatDMCC. And as I promised earlier, right before we started this podcast, I was going to give away a disc. Actually, it's a Simon Lizotte PD2. I posted a tweet that I was going to give this PD2 away to someone who retweeted the picture of that disc and went ahead and followed my personal account. So I am pulling that up right now to pick out a winner. What you got there in your hands?
Oh, it's the XT Colt first run Protostar.
Where'd you get that from?
Appalachian Disc Golf.
Appalachian Disc Golf, our sponsor. Good people at Appalachian DG. All right, so I just pulled out my Twitter account, and I found out that I had 27 entries for this disc. And let me make sure that my account went up 27. Yep, there it goes. So I'm giving away this Simon Lizotte disc that you saw in the picture that's been retweeted. I'm going to give this one to Jimmy Larson at Fashier.
Congratulations, Jimmy.
Congratulations, Jimmy. So I'm going to. So when you hear this podcast, go ahead and send a private tweet to me, either through the Pat D MCC or the Zen Disc Golf, and with your address, and I'm going to mail this disc to you as soon as possible.
Every free disc comes with a courtesy lick from the Ticklish Hamster.
So speaking of discs, let's talk disc. Let's talk disc talk, okay? And so. Every podcast we talk about what we're throwing. Zach, what are you throwing?
I quit.
Wait a minute.
No, I'm just
Before we do this, I don't want to forget, this section is sponsored also by Appalachian Disc Golf, and that's why you had that Colt.
Yes.
That Colt, not Colt.
Got an awesome mini, a bracelet. I got the XT Colt, the Protostar first run.
And my new favorite, Lucky T-shirt.
That T-shirt's awesome.
Yeah, but they're the exact same T-shirt. So are we going to wear the same T-shirt out on the course next time?
Only if we can hold hands and skip.
Team Appalachian Disc Golf in Virginia Beach.
Absolutely. All right, let's see here. For me, I'm going to talk about a putter that I used when I first started as a disc golfer. It was right when Vibram came out, when they released their first few discs. It was a Vibram Ridge. Huge fan of this putter. It's described as one of the best disc golf putters made, regardless of manufacturer.
Really?
A stable, straight flyer with just phenomenal amounts of grip. Very tacky. It's like holding onto an eraser almost. Very grippy.
Well, it's because they're all made of rubber.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
So just phenomenal accuracy on an approach shot, and it's a finesse disc. It's not one you're throwing real hard.
Oh, good for the episode then.
Indeed it is. And unbelievably durable. Like, you can't break them.
Right.
They don't break. I mean, they bend, but that's part of it.
Because they're elastic.
I'm talking about the kind of putter when you get them in there. I think it's which plastic am I thinking of? The X-Link Medium. It's very rubbery, very soft, and you can throw it, hit the side of the basket. It will bend around the basket, flop in, hits the chains, bends in half, drops right in the basket. You can't ask for more out of a putter.
That sounds like a great putter. You review a lot of putters, though. So you're very particular. Because you've done a putter before.
I've got
a putter for everything.
Yeah, I've got a huge love affair with putters. I go through putters like people go through underwear.
Yeah, instead of you got an app for that, you got a putter for that.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Great disc, and its max weight's 177, which is good. I like mine at about 175 for those. So it's built as a 2-speed, 3-glide, 0-turn, 1 fade, similar to your AVRs for the Innova fans out there that haven't branched out to Vibram. It's overstable, kinda, and but the best part, in my opinion, skill level, everyone.
Nice.
Anybody can pick it up out of the box and throw it.
What I've noticed a lot about Vibrams, and I throw a couple of them, my favorite is the track, that when they land, it's different. It's not as much of like a skip. It's almost like they do have a little bounce.
Oh, yeah.
Because of what they're made out of. Not enough to that it's really going to affect your game or anything. It's not going to like bounce away like a bouncy ball, but you can definitely tell the difference between a plastic and the rubber that they use.
Well, I've only got one friend that I know of that only throws Vibram. He's exclusive to Vibram. But
Is he sponsored?
No.
That's the only way I would only throw one brand.
Same for me. But he loves them. But I don't know anybody that's thrown any of the Vibram line and disliked any of them. I think people have a deep appreciation for the product that Vibram puts out. So I'm happy to have used their product, and it's served me well over the years.
Yeah, I really need to get a new track. I loved that disc so much, and it's gone. We looked, couldn't find it over there at Munden.
The places that Pat tried to send me were unreal.
There's a free disc at Munden if you can find it. It's a Vibram track. Definitely recommended by me and signed on the back. Hey, that was a rhyme.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's there at Munden. Go find it. If you do, tweet it to us. We want to know it's yours, though. So the one that I'm going to do, I mentioned on episode number 9. Actually, I believe I called it the wrong thing. What did I call it on episode number 9? I clarified in the show notes, but I'm reviewing a Axiom Crave.
Great disc.
I really like it.
Yeah, Pat's a jerk. Pat pulled this out of the box first day and started crushing drives with this disc that he's never set hands on. Jerk.
Hey, let me try this. So the numbers on it are speed 6, glide 5, turn neg 1, fade 1. So it's a very stable kind of you call it control driver, I guess, because it's a speed 6. Glide for days. It really actually reminded me of that Vibram track. So I was like, I do have this. It kind of can do the same kind of thing. So I really do like that disc. Feels good. I think the one I have is like a 168 or something of that nature. So I definitely recommend the Crave. It's actually good for finesse shots as well, for nice straight finesse shots. I don't really run up with it. I just kind of try to use good technique right off the T-pad, try to get it going nice and straight. Straightest daggone disc in my bag. Do I have to put an expletive in the iTunes thing because I said daggone?
I don't think so. I think if the South were to rule on curse words, they would rule that as clean.
Yes. That does remind me, and I have no idea why this reminded me. I have a correction to make from the last podcast. And that was our Mr. Riley Warren is a Mrs. Riley Warren. Remember she asked the question on Twitter, and through the email?
Yeah, she's a girl.
She's a girl.
She happens to be a girl.
Hi, Riley. How are you?
Hi,
That's
Chris
where she answers
Bowden.
back.
I know you're out there.
He is. And, hey, I got him to commit to coming on the podcast. We just need to figure out a day.
Did you know?
Yeah. So, as Zach says, Chris, I hope he doesn't sound like a girl because, not that there's anything wrong with girls, but we just,
When you see someone's face, you kind of expect them to have a certain kind of voice. Don't go having a lady voice. He doesn't
look like he has a lady voice.
I don't.
I have a lady voice.
You ever seen one of those real muscly pit bulls that yips a lot?
Okay, really, really funny story that I'm going to tell the entire world. And the only reason I'm doing this is because you just called somebody else out. So I've got to put myself under the bus here. And I think the listeners are going to love this.
Do it.
I used to work at a place of telemarketing. Not so much one that called you. I didn't cold call people. People called me for customer service and things like that. We will not say the name of this company. Anyways, it was instructed to us that the customer was always right and that we were not allowed to correct the customer unless it was some legal thing or something like that. So I would answer the phone and I would say, "Thank you for calling, blah, 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 blah. This is Patrick. Patrick, how may I help you?" And they go, "Yes, ma'am." Every single one.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe it was my headset. I don't know, but my name is Patrick. So I would try to throw that out there, but I would never correct them. And then after a while, I just started going, if I sell more stuff as a female, then hey, I'm just going to let this roll.
Use my pretty lady voice.
That's right. Does this sound like a woman?
A little bit.
Hey, thank you for coming.
Hi, Pat.
All right, this pod just went way down the wrong.
Hey, you gotta have a little fun sometime.
You do. So that's my funny story about my voice. So I'm kind of, I've kind of been a little sensitive about it.
Hey,
And as I say it, I kind of raise my voice and talk about
like a
how
little
sensitive. I wish a flute run through a distortion pedal after all that screaming I did over the years.
That's fair.
So, Zach, let's give away a book.
A book.
Are you ready to do this?
All
Here,
right.
I've picked out a 5-star review on the Amazons. Do you think they're actually located in the Amazon?
That's a good question. I don't know.
No, it's a terrible question. It's
Oh.
stupid. But anyways, so every podcast we give away a signed book. I'll sign a book and ship it to you. If you wrote a 5-star review and I randomly chose it from the Amazon account, write me at zendiscgolf@gmail.com and I'm going to put this signed book in your hand and you can take whatever book you got and you can give it to someone who needs it on the course. So who won?
Our winner this week is Nathan Meese.
Nathan Meese. I've
This
seen
is
that
from-
name. I think he pledged on our. I think he sent in a pledge.
I think you're right. And this is from 20 July. And, of course, it was a 5-star review, and it said,
5 stars.
the title is Amazing.
Amazing.
Everyone needs to read this and go play. Nathan says, after listening to the podcast, I decided I wanted
A
to check...
podcast listener.
Yes, I decided I wanted to check out this book. It is amazing. Taking the lessons from the book to the course has improved my game tremendously. As a matter of fact, my first game after reading the first few chapters resulted in a 5 under par with nothing but birdies and pars.
Whoa.
It was truly
Nice.
a zen game.
Sweet.
I'm also applying the lessons to life as best I can.
Great.
I've suffered from depression for decades, and I've let life tear me down over the last few years. This book and this game have reignited my passions for living
That's
and are
amazing.
helping me realign my thoughts and life patterns.
Wow.
Thank you so much for this book, Patrick.
Wow. Wow. I mean, you love to hear that, but you don't love to hear that people have been in bad places. But I think that and I know, Zach, we've talked about this before. I came from a bad place. You've come from a bad place. But that's why we are who we are today and why we can walk around and play this game and be so happy because we've seen our lows. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And we've seen in ourselves how we make ourselves feel as opposed to our environment. Our environment has a lot to do with our happiness, but ultimately you hold the key. You control your happiness. Nobody else can do that for you.
It is a choice.
So that's amazing. Nathan, thank you so much for being so candid about this review. And if, excuse me, I'm a big cough. I think I swallowed a dragonfly. Did you see a dragonfly fly in my mouth?
Something like that.
Whoa. That's
Don't worry, Chris Pratt will come save you from
That's-
the dinosaurs.
That's yeah. That's the hazards of doing this outside. Dragonflies flying in your mouth. But anyways, thank you so much, Nathan, for being so candid on that review and also writing me an amazing review on Amazon. I appreciate it, buddy. Send me an email, zendiscgolf@gmail.com, and I'm gonna get you a signed book, bud. All right, thank you so much. I got one more thing to give away. It is the day of giveaways. I got a disc to give away.
What are you going to give away?
And that one right there. Can you describe that disc to our listeners?
All right. It's round.
True.
It is.
Yeah, they didn't. When I started giving away the square ones, people started to complain.
People get so sensitive about square discs. It is definitely a
Close-minded.
Discmania disc. It's got the Discmania. Discmania presents Flying Circus with Simon Lizotte stamp.
Oh, another Simon Lizotte.
Clean, very, very nice, very fresh out of the box, and it is an S-line DD2,
Yeah.
and that's 175 grams of premium Discmania plastic coming to you for free.
Yes. And what a cool stamp on that disc.
Oh yeah, look at
I
that.
like it. I hate just giving it away. I held on to it for so long just because I like the stamp.
Oh, she's a beaut.
But guess what? This disc is going out to real_T63 for writing us a 5-star review on iTunes, which is amazing. You guys have no idea. Well, maybe you have some idea now that we're giving things away for these 5-star reviews on iTunes. They help out the podcast tremendously. They are like money. It's like handing us money, but you don't lose any money. Same thing with Amazon and with the 5-star reviews. It's like saying, please keep going. Please keep going. So if you really like this podcast, if you really like the book, come by, and it's so easy just to drop a 5-star review, say something nice. If you want to hear something different, by all means, email us or whatever. But by all means, it's like handing us money and saying, keep going. And it's so easy. So that disc is going out to real_T63. And he called his review Zen in the Art of Awesome. So his review was written on July 15th, 2015. I love the podcast. I found you guys around episode 9.
Nice, good choice.
That would be the 101 episode, and have binged out over the last few days. Because of your disc golf advice, I mentally stopped competing against the group of guys I play with, and now I'm focused only on playing my game and improving every round. I also realized that in disc golf business and at home, it's ridiculous to stressed out over what happens after a bad throw. You should just watch the flight, keep playing, and do your best to improve on the next hole. Your podcast is truly an hour of zen. Thanks, and I'm now a lifelong listener and supporter. Just throw.
Wow. Killer review, bro.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you. And that helps us out so much. I just can't tell you guys how much it helps. So please go and drop these reviews. If nothing else, just to keep us going. But we do every single podcast give something away for both a 5-star review on the iTunes and a 5-star review on the Zen and the Art of Disc Golf book on Amazon. So that being said, that's about all I've got today. Now here's the thing. We were going to cut I think I mentioned it earlier, we were going to cut a really quick pod today and then decided, well, we've got all the equipment out. Why don't we go ahead and do it and just do a full podcast? I was basically going to come on and say, hey, thank you all so much for the Kickstarter. Thank you for pledging. Thank you for being the best fans in the world.
The best.
I can't say that enough. You people, you have no idea. You keep us going. But Zach and I talk all the time about how you all help give us the key to want to wake up in the morning as well.
Oh yeah.
So we have a passion for life, a passion for disc golf, and we have a passion for our fans. And thank you all so much for keeping this going. Remember, there's 16 days left on that Kickstarter. Get your box. Come by zendiscgolf.com and you can see that. Also, visit the website zendiscgolf.com or just throw.org, whichever path you choose. That's the way, that's, Zach was just giving me the motion of him holding a baby, which means he wants me to talk about my baby. So I don't know when we'll cut the next podcast, but the wife says, as long as we can do it, as long as there's no problems, we can have you over here and cut another one soon.
Well, I just want the fans to be prepared for Pat McCormick, the dad, know that if he has to take a little hiatus to be the best dad he can be, then you're going to have to bear with it, friends.
Yeah, that is definitely my priority.
First.
That is my priority. However, you all are my priority too. So we're gonna try our best to make sure that the next pod also comes in 2 weeks.
Yes.
So, so anyways, zendiscgolf.com, justthrow.org, Facebook, Zen Disc Golf, Instagram, Zen Disc Golf, Twitter, Zen Disc Golf Ticklish Hamster, and at Pat DMCC if you're interested in my other work. Upcoming, deconstructing-reality.com. That's a lot of places to send people. You should go there, though.
Get there.
It's fun.
Yep. Get there.
It's the best thing that you've ever done. Ever. Except for play disc golf. And
Just
have fun.
throw.
Just throw. Most importantly, thank you for being a fan. And most importantly, thank you for listening to the podcast. And most importantly, follow @Ticklish Hamster. And most importantly, just throw.